The Tolkien Road, Episode 59, The Silmarillion Top 5.
All right, go ahead.
The Tolkien Road, 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 the Tolk Hey there, fellow travelers. Welcome to the Tolkien Road, a long walk through the works and philosophy of J.R.R. Tolkien. On this episode, having completed the Silmarillion with 29 episodes, we rounded off to 30 by taking a victory lap, wherein we discuss our top 5 things about the Silmarillion as a whole. We also discuss where the Tolkien Road should go next. And yes, we'd love to hear from you about your top 5 Silmarillion things too. Send us an email or leave a comment at True Myths. And while you're at it, we'd really appreciate it if you'd leave the Tolkien Road a rating and feedback on iTunes. It's easy to do, only takes a moment, and would put a big smile on our faces. Thanks for listening, and enjoy the show. Hey everybody, welcome to the Tolkien Road. John here. Greta, what's new?
Not much.
Not much?
What's new with you, Johnny?
Not a whole lot. Not a whole lot. So episode 59, we're going to talk about our top 5. Each of us came up with the top 5 things from the Silmarillion. This is kind of a victory lap since we finished the Silmarillion last episode. And so we wanted to do a little victory lap here and just say what are our top 5 things, just kind of a little recap, you know.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Yeah. At some point, we're also going to do an episode, this will probably be soon, kind of a little bonus episode of just a very kind of, short, brief walkthrough of the entire Silmarillion. Hopefully within, trying to do it within the space of like 20 or 30 minutes or something like that. So.
Right. Yeah, we talked about this a little bit before, didn't we?
Yeah.
Or like the fastest 2 minutes in football that Boom does on Monday Night Countdown.
Right.
Yeah.
But Tolkien style, because, really fast for Tolkien is like half an hour.
That's right.
So. That's
a true story.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we're going to do our top 5. I did want to mention, as frequent listeners probably know, we'll sometimes have the TV on and you'll be watching sporting events. In the last few weeks, it's been March Madness.
March Madness.
And with basketball, college basketball, for those who don't know what March Madness is, and it was kind of we'll just call it I thought it was a pretty catastrophic ending. It was a total catastrophe, for you and for other fans of Villanova.
Right. If you are a Villanova fan, it was very catastrophic, for sure.
If you're a UNC fan, it was the opposite.
It was the opposite.
Yeah.
What is the opposite of you?
Catastrophic. In Tolkien's Requiem, I kind of, to distinguish between eucatastrophe and just plain old catastrophe, I actually use the term discatastrophe.
Right. Okay.
But, that's just me.
Yeah.
You could probably most people would just say catastrophe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
UNC needs to hold their heads high, though.
Yeah.
Because they really gave it a good run there at the end.
Well, it was amazing. And if you don't know what we're talking about, you should really go look it up because even if you're not like a big fan of sports, it was an incredible ending. And, we don't want to spoil it too much, but it was probably the greatest college basketball game of all time. I mean, it was really something.
It's definitely going to be in the top 5.
Yeah.
For sure. I mean, I haven't seen a ton of college basketball. I've only started watching it in the last decade, maybe, but it was amazing. And it was I say it was catastrophic because it was like for Villanova fans because it was like in the last. Tolkien talks about eucatastrophe being the happy turn, right? Just when things look their darkest, it's the happy turn, and so that's why I refer to it as that because it was. I'll just say UNC kind of fought back, and then Villanova had kind of a miracle, pulled off a miracle at the very end. So yeah.
It's
just go Google NCAA Championship 2016, and plenty of YouTube videos will come up of the last minute and 30. Just watch the last minute 30.
Yeah,
you're good.
All right. Well, we probably need to move on from talking about March Madness because
I could talk about it forever.
I think Tolkien might be rolling over in his grave right now.
But don't you see how I did that, though? I mentioned that the basketball game was definitely in the top 5.
Oh, nice. Mm-hmm.
Well, this is our top 5 episode.
That was really clever. We should go back and just do that on instant replay so that
everybody catches it.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right. So let's do top 5. Hold on here. I want to do something for top 5.
Did you write a song?
No, but I'm going to use one of the ones I wrote for the Tolkien haiku theme song.
You're going to use one of the haiku rejects for our top 5 episode? Dude. Okay. It's not bad. I can get my groove onto this. Top 5.
That's right.
Top 5.
Yeah!
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Top 5. That actually worked out really well. I like that. No, don't ruin it. It was good.
I can't press my fat fingering everything. All right, there we go. All right.
Well.
All right. Okay.
That was near disaster.
So should we do rock, paper, scissors for who goes first?
First, we need to figure out: are we doing?
We're going to do it back and forth. We're going to stutter it. So.
But are we going to start with number 5?
Yeah. Well.
I think we should.
Yeah. I didn't really do them like in order.
You didn't do them in order?
No, I'll do them in order real quick. Let's see. All right.
Okay. I'm really. You know what? I'm really interested to see. I'm interested to see if any of ours overlap.
Well.
I think probably at least one of them will.
Yeah.
And honestly, I would not be surprised if we both have the same top number 1.
All right. Well, I'm just going to wing it on my top 5. So on how they're ordered, I think I know it. I
didn't mean to throw you a curveball.
No, you're right. We should do it that way. We should do it that way. So we're good.
Okay.
Let's do it.
All right. So we're starting with number 5.
Yeah.
And we're doing rock, paper, scissors to see who goes first.
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
You ready?
Remember, quiet rock, paper, scissors.
Oh, right. We're not going to bust any earlobes or eardrums.
Rock, paper, scissors.
Shoot. Dang it. Dang it. All right. You go first.
I just totally flow, baby. Just flow.
Just flow.
It just flows out of me.
You're weird. All right. Oh, wait. I'm sorry. You get to pick, don't you?
Yeah, you're going to go first.
I'm going to go first?
Yeah.
Actually, so I'm just going to give you my number 5?
Actually, yeah, you go first. Give me your number 5.
Actually, I just realized I forgot to do something related to my number 5. So I need you to go first, or at least I need you to fill in. I need you to fill in some airspace.
I'll go first.
Okay.
All right.
Sorry, I was unprepared.
Yeah, I think I'll go. So I'm going to start off, and I'm going to say my number 5 of my top 5. Is I will say it's young Sauron.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so not because like I think Sauron's a great guy or anything like that, but because I really like how in the Silmarillion you get a little more flavor as to what Sauron is really like. And especially in the story of Beren and Luthien, right? Because he plays a big part there.
That's right.
He shows a lot of cruelty to Gorlim the Unhappy, and then there's the whole thing with where he's in his little dungeon and he has the War of Song with Finrod Felagund,
yes,
and then Luthien has to break out Beren and all the other people, and and basically she and Huan just totally make Sauron look like a little baby,
Yes.
Yes. But I liked that because he's this ominous presence in the Lord of the Rings, but you never really. It's an interesting thing because even though he's like the supreme villain, you never really see him. You never really get a full picture of what he's like. He's just this ominous presence in the background of the story. So
kind of this dark cloud hovering.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. So
I like that a lot.
So young Sauron, that's my number 5.
That was your number 5.
Mm-hmm. So you ready?
I dig it. Yeah, I'm totally ready.
All right.
So my number 5 actually is Thingol and Melion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I know that was like a crazy short chapter in the book.
Yeah.
But I just loved the story. I loved the whole thing about Thingol getting lost in the woods and then coming upon Melion in all of her glory. And, just...
Yeah.
Yeah. So...
Yeah, it's kind of a long intro to this song.
It's kind of a long intro to the song. And I don't think I found the chorus yet.
You found okay, good.
Yeah. Was there another reason I liked it? No.
Oh, okay.
I just like the romance of it.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
So that was very romantic.
Yeah, well, it's a nice touch that it's a nice little touch that Tolkien throws into this whole story, and it's cool to see how Melion, who is a Maiar, right? Who's almost like a basically an
Just
angelic being. She's not one of the
Valar,
children
right?
of Iluvatar,
right?
But her genes, or whatever you want to call them, have entered the race of both the Eldar and of men, especially of the Edain.
Yes.
As you see later on as the story develops. So
yeah,
it's definitely an interesting little relationship between the two of them.
Yeah. I like their relationship too.
Yeah,
in the different scenes.
Of course, Thingol turns out to be kind of a
Thingol's not
kind of a twerp.
Really. Yeah, he's not my favorite part of
kind of a big jerk,
thing.
really. Yeah,
he is. Yeah, he's kind of a big bully, but I just really I like the story of how they found each other.
Cool. All right.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yep.
My number 4.
Mm-hmm.
My number 4 is that chapter.
Nice.
Yeah.
I thought about choosing that.
Yeah, I love that chapter because there's so much. First of all, there's the whole thing with the creation of the dwarves. Mm-hmm. And, and just that kind of funny little story of like, where did the dwarves come? And the dwarves are always a sort of comic presence within the story. Mm-hmm. Not slapstick.
No, definitely not slapstick.
But they're always like, Gimli in the Lord of the Rings. Mm-hmm. He's always so. They're always looking for a fight and.
Right. Have a chip on their shoulder,
and the whole joke is there's no where are all the dwarf women, and the dwarf women actually have beards and all that kind of stuff, and so I liked the whole background of Aule and the creation of the dwarves.
Yes,
and then you throw in the Yavanna part of it, and there's they're supposed to be spouses, right. But they're not. Or they are, but they're almost like spouses who don't get along and don't live together, Mm-hmm. And I liked how Yavanna's, all of the things that she cares about with growing things and, basically animals and plants, right? Mm-hmm. She, basically what Aule does almost like makes their relationship even more antagonistic.
Yes.
Because the dwarves are all about chopping things down, mm-hmm. and they probably don't care much about being nice to animals and all that sort mm-hmm. of thing. So,
isn't that the chapter where she's like, basically gives Aule that warning? It was like, listen, you got to keep your little men under control,
right? And
he's like, well, they'll still have need of wood,
right?
Yeah,
and that's where Manwë, talks. I think Yavanna goes to Manwë to kind of get his help with the whole situation, mm-hmm, and mm-hmm. And they talk about the eagles, and then you get they don't come right out and call them this, but you have the Ents, the tree shepherds,
yes,
right?
Yep, mm-hmm.
Yes. And so there's just this whole that little chapter, even though it doesn't have much consequence as regards to the rest of the Silmarillion, it's still a nice little background on a part of the world that doesn't always come into focus in Tolkien storytelling. Yeah. But is important nevertheless.
Right. So, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's my number 4.
Awesome. Good choice. I dig it. My number 4 is the last chapter of the Silmarillion, the voyage of the... How do we say it?
The voyage of Arendelle.
Arendelle.
Yeah.
And the War of Wrath. Because, I mean, first of all, it's like totally action-packed. Mm-hmm. Right? I mean, there's so much stuff that happens. I just love the bravery and the courage of Arendelle and Elwing, and the fact that they actually make it, to the Blessed Realm.
Right.
And, that there is really as much of a happy ending as we could hope for. Mm-hmm. And that, in the end, good does triumph over evil. It's a eucatastrophe, right? Mm-hmm. And you see Maglor, one of the sons of Feanor, finally reaching his end, along with the Silmaril.
Well, and also Madros.
Right, and Madros. Yeah. Right. We don't know what happens to him, though, right? He just kind of disappears.
No, he's the one I think he's the one that falls into the crack, and then Maglor is the one that just kind of wanders.
Oh, that's right. Maglor's the wanderer. Yep, I got him mixed up. You're right. Yes. So we see kind of the ultimate, the final thread of that whole oath of the Sons of Feanor kind of die out. Mm-hmm. Right? And then, of course, Morgoth is captured as well. So, I loved the threads of the, the good triumphing over evil.
Yeah.
To kind of happen throughout. And that Arendelle and Elwing are willing to make that sacrifice to save their people. So, and plus it's the last chapter. So,
nice.
There's lots to like about a last chapter, right?
Yeah, I mean it's definitely one of the best chapters in the book.
Yeah, for real.
For certain. Good call. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks.
I was going to say something else about that chapter, but I couldn't remember what it was. Anyway. All right, moving on. So, next for me, my number 3, I would have to say... number 3, I'm going to go with Ulmo. Number 3, I'm going to go with Ulmo, the Lord of the Waters.
Yeah.
I love how Ulmo, of all of the Valar, he's determined never to abandon the
Noldor,
right, and the people of Beleriand, right. He's always inspiring them to do certain things, giving them warnings, but not just giving them warnings, but also inspiring them to these beautiful creations as well, right?
Yeah.
And as someone who
like
loves
Gondolin and
Nargothrond, right? Mm-hmm. And as someone who loves, and even later, he's one of the ones that is pleading before the other Valar to go and give their assistance, right?
Right.
And I as someone who loves the sea, and as someone and it's seeing how the sea plays such a role in Tolkien's world, and like how there's always the waters are such an important thing. We'll get into Lord of the Rings, and it's all over the place in there.
Yep.
It's cool to see how that's related. All that is related to Ulmo.
Yes.
Right. Even probably in the Third Age, even though he's not mentioned there. It all kind of comes back to his influence, and he's just kind of this fatherly figure who's watching over. Maybe not even like grandfatherly. Like this grandfatherly presence that's just kind of watching over them. And doing everything he can within the limits of his power to, take care of them, right? And to kind of call them, keep calling them back to what they've left behind.
Yes.
So.
Yes.
I like Ulmo.
I can see why.
Yeah.
He's a pretty rad dude.
Yep.
Yeah. Good call.
Thank you.
Welcome. So my number 3 is, it's kind of two things. I guess I kind of cheated. I kind of combined 2 chapters, but...
Cheater.
Whatever. My number 3 was...
This podcast is over.
I don't want to... If you're not going to play nice, I'm not going to play with you. So my number 3 is Feanor and the Silmarils.
Nice.
Because let's face it, without the Silmarils, we have no Silmarillion.
Mm-hmm.
And Feanor, even though he's far from a good guy, I found him to be very charismatic. Like I thought his character added a lot, obviously, to the story.
Mm-hmm.
The Silmarillion would not be the same without him at all.
Wouldn't. You're right.
It probably wouldn't even exist, actually, without him. And I mean, I really liked the way Tolkien portrayed him and used him as, you know, I never could kind of figure out how I felt about him. Like, I would be like, oh yeah, he's totally cool. And I'm like, oh, what a jerk, what a meanie.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, he's not so bad, you know, like, cut him some slack. So I kind of like that. I like the kind of the ambiguity in his character, and how he kind of towed the line between good and bad. I guess he kind of found that gray area in my mind.
Right.
And then, of course, the Silmarils, you know, like, you know, the heart of the Silmarillion, and just, you know, they're at the center of the, you know, the rest of the action in the book. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Feanor he's a fascinating character, and obviously very central to the whole thing. And you know, we had a lot of good discussion about him and his character, and and how he is. You know, he was really. I thought he was really interesting in how he hates Melkor, but he also kind of hates the Valar as well. You know?
Yeah.
And why all of that was, and you know, he made me. He's kind of a he's kind of a sympathetic. He's not quite a bad guy. Like he's kind of a sympathetic figure, because he's not just completely evil, but he just always lets his temper get the best of him, and he never stops to consider that the people he thinks are against him might not really be against him. Right. He's just one of these people who thinks the whole world is against him.
He's just kind of a hothead too.
Yeah.
And absolutely. He just feels like he's just a rebel without a cause, really, in a lot of ways. He's just kind of out there on his own for the sake of being on his own.
Yeah.
And not wanting to be...
he just doesn't want anybody to fence him in, you know?
Right, exactly. He just wants to be free.
Mm-hmm.
To be free to be his own man, his own person. So, yeah.
Nice.
That's my number 3.
Number 3. All right.
All right, getting up there.
We are. Number 2. So, I don't want this one to be too all-consuming, but obviously I got to throw Beren and Luthien in there, but I'm actually going to throw it in there as Luthien and Beren, and the reason is I really like how Tolkien... He never comes right out and says this, because the story itself is called Beren and Luthien. He always referred to it as Beren and Luthien, but I think he does something very subtle in the work that's really cool, and it's almost kind of a quasi-feminist thing. You know, although I kind of hesitate to use that term just because there's so much kind of baggage associated with it, but what he does is Beren is supposed to be this great, like, you know, warrior and everything, and all these there's so many stories in the Silmarillion about these like great warriors and their heroic deeds and everything, and then we come to like this centerpiece of the Silmarillion, Beren and Luthien, and you've got this Beren who he's this outlaw, and he's just slaying orcs everywhere, and then he meets Luthien, and he kind of meets his match. And what's really interesting is Luthien is always rescuing him.
Yes.
You know? Mm-hmm. When he gets imprisoned by Sauron, it's Luthien that breaks him out, you know? And even then, let's see, I think later on in the story when they enter Angband, it's really Luthien that wins the day, you know? I think it's her song. Angband, it's her song that puts everybody in the throne room to sleep. Mm-hmm. And then old Beren gets greedy for a second Silmaril, and that's what wakes him up.
Everybody up.
Yeah.
Yep.
But even within that story too, there's the whole thing that she is the only really positive force for good. She's the only force that's really actually able to unite everyone, in the story, right? Thingol and Baron are just constantly like they butt heads and everything, and it's like this classic sort of like father-in-law, son-in-law kind of like, or future father-in-law, son-in-law kind of thing.
Yeah.
And they're just total like hotheads about everything, and it's ultimately Luthien's deeds. And to be fair, Baron does his own share, right? I mean, he obviously he reobtains the Silmaril, but he couldn't have done it without Luthien. Nope. He absolutely could not have done it without Luthien. It would have been a
disaster without Luthien.
Yeah, he would have just rotted away in Sauron's dungeon without Luthien.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
And Thingol would have been happy about it. So.
Yeah, that's right. He would have. Been like, good riddance.
Yeah. So, there's a lot more things I could say about Baron and Luthien. You know how much I love Baron and Luthien, but that's my number 2.
I like it.
Yeah.
Good call. Definitely a good call. Again. So my number 2 is Turin Bar.
Nice.
Or Turin and Turin Bar, as I like to say.
Turin, yeah.
Of Turin and Turin Bar. And I mean, again, just like a totally action-packed story. Tons of stuff happened, which did we spend 2 episodes? I think we spent 2 episodes on that.
Yeah, we did 2 episodes on it
because it was so packed. So I don't think I need to say too much really about it. But I really loved the just kind of all the twists and turns in that chapter. I feel like there was a lot of surprises that I didn't see coming. I like the whole thing with Mim and just kind of his backstory, and I really liked it's obviously a very tragic tale.
Yeah. But
I'm a sucker for a good love triangle, and that definitely had a good love triangle in it.
Yeah.
I really liked it. I thought it was kind of like it's as close as I'm going to get to a soap opera episode by Tolkien. So.
Nice.
I liked it a lot.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, of Turin Bar. Number 2, coming in number 2 for you.
Yep.
All right, well, my number 1 is Ainulindale.
Okay, I didn't think that counted. It's not part of the Quinta Silmarillion.
Oh, well.
You stinker. I was going to put it in mine,
You should have asked.
Oh, well, that's okay. I have a good number 1, so I'm not worried about it. But I was going to include that, and then I didn't think it was in the running because of it was not part of the...
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird because I know there's, we haven't completed the book that you buy that's called The Silmarillion. We haven't actually completed it because there's a Calabaith and then there's of the Rings of Power in the Third Age. But I look at those as very separate from Quinta Silmarillion, and even but I think you can make the argument that Ainulindale and Valaquenta kind of go along with Quinta Silmarillion because they kind of naturally progress into.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I agree. I in fact, it took me looking at the table of contents to realize that Ainulindale was actually not part of the Silmarillion.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you should have been paying closer attention early on.
Well.
Yeah. Well, I like Ainulindale.
I like Ainulindale too.
Ainulindale.
It would have been in my top 5. I'm just saying.
Well, I just think it's fascinating, and
it is,
and
absolutely.
it's so well written, and it's you could spend hours with it, and there's just so much to say about it, and there's it's almost like it's a story on one hand, but it's almost like an artistic sort of manifesto on the other, like about the nature of art, but it's also about, you could also argue it's like a really brilliant sort of theological text almost on kind of like a mythologizing of the story of good and evil, like where good and evil come from, and how how creativity plays into all of that as well, right?
Yeah.
So Ainulindale in my book is just brilliant. It's one of the most
absolutely
brilliant things that he wrote. And
I think our interview with Evan Palmer, really kind of
definitely
added to our study of that chapter.
Yeah, man, I would, I so wish that, and let me say this while we're on that subject, I feel like Tolkien really wanted artists to be free to interact with his work, and musicians and others, and to some degree they are, but I really I feel like it would be really cool for there to be kind of a legacy to be carried on with the work that he started, and for people to actually be able to make, we could people can make paintings and stuff like that of different scenes, but and post them online. But I'm sure Evan Palmer or others would love to make a Silmarillion graphic novel.
Oh, heck yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Or make a TV show of the Silmarillion, right? You could do an amazing TV show of the Silmarillion,
series kind of thing.
Well, you could do. I've seen things out there where they lay it out. There's one website that lays it out in all 10 seasons. Could do 10 seasons of. I think maybe 6 was the Silmarillion, and then they kind of carried on with some other stories. But yeah, you just think about some of the really high quality TV storytelling that's out there these days, and I think maybe I wonder if the Tolkien estate was just kind of burned in the early days when people tried to do things with their work that didn't really understand it. The old Lord of the Rings movies and
that cartoon version of The Hobbit.
Yeah, which it's definitely got a lot of problems, and maybe and I know they've had issues with the Peter Jackson tellings of the different Tolkien works.
Yeah.
Which I think all told are pretty good, but especially the Lord of the Rings ones. But man, I just see how there's a lot that could be done with these stories, and I think there's some really capable artists and storytellers out there and visual storytellers that could do a really bang up job, with some of these, and do justice to Tolkien's vision.
Yeah, I completely
truly
agree.
do justice to his vision. So anyway, a little tangent there, but yeah, we'll plug Evan Palmer's Ina Lindalay graphic novel for the billionth time on the podcast, and go back and listen to our interview with him and everything. And and by the way, we are planning to do more interviews now that we've finished up the Silmarillion, and but we'll talk about that a little more in just a second. All right, so that's my number one, Ina Lindalay. It's amazing.
Good call. Yeah, it's beautiful in every sense of the word. Do you have any interest in guessing my number one?
Let's see. Your number one. I am. I'm going to say that it is. I have no idea.
Are you for real?
No, I have no idea.
You have no idea?
No. I was trying to come up with something clever, but I couldn't. It was going to be stupid if I tried it, so.
Alright, well, I thought it would be a no-brainer. It's Beren and Luthien.
Oh, Beren and Luthien. Nice.
Yeah, for sure.
Nice. I've never heard of that one.
No. You should read it sometime.
It's good.
It's pretty amazing.
Cool.
Well, I think when we were, I don't know if I said this on the air or just to you, but I've read a lot of good love stories in my time. But Beren and Luthien, hands down, the best I've ever read. And my words can't do it justice. There's just too much good in it for me to explain why I love it the way I do. And you hit on a lot of it just in your discussion about Luthien really being more of the heroine than Beren being the hero, which, girl power. I'm all about girl power. But more than that, I love the story. I love everything about it. And I think it's beautiful, and I think it's inspiring, and I think it's amazingly written. and it doesn't let up. It's just like boom, 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 action. Yeah. You don't have a chance to catch your breath. You can't put it down. It just keeps going. So, yeah, and plus it has that awesome super dog in it, which, I mean...
Huan.
Yeah. The super dog. So as if an amazing heroine and a hunky hero or wannabe hero aren't enough, you have super dog.
Yeah.
So you have a little bit of everything. You got the love, you have the conflict, you have the
super dog.
Super dog.
Yeah.
You have the villain.
Right.
Right.
Couple of villains. Really.
Couple of villains. Yeah. Couple of villains and super dog defeating evil dog and evil wolf and all that good stuff. So I'm going to stop rambling now and just say that for those of you who haven't read it, shame on you, and go read it right now.
Yeah. Well, that was
you don't have to read
you don't have to shame people for it, Greta. But
well, that's how strongly I feel about it.
I know. No. I mean, if you have gotten this far, if you are listening to this episode and you haven't read that, like if there's any one chapter you should read, then it's probably Beren and Luthien.
It is. Beren and Luthien, for sure.
Yeah, and then probably Anna Lindley after that. So
yeah,
anyway.
I say that's a pretty good.
Yeah,
that's a pretty good lineup right there. Yeah.
All right, top 5.
Top 5.
Good stuff.
Totally.
All right. Well, a little bit about where we're going next. So we're gonna pick back up with the Lord of the Rings at Book 2, Chapter 1, Many Meetings. That'll be our next episode. We're going to take a brief break, so we're going to skip a week, but we're going to record a bonus episode the next time we record. So Greta's like, great.
I was like, woo, bonus.
Yeah. So we're going to back up with Lord of the Rings, and we're going to start planning in some interviews. I just wanted to get done with the Silmarillion because, we took that long. We've been kind of we went back and forth for a while on some different stuff, and I was like, let's just get done with the Silmarillion. So we've been going hard to finish the Silmarillion, and we've done it. So now we're going to enjoy the Lord of the Rings and Book 2, Chapter 1, and we're going to do some interviews, and who knows what other fun stuff we got planned. So stay tuned. It's all going to be good. Stay tuned. There's plenty more Tolkien Road. Plenty more. So, because there's plenty more Tolkien stuff out there. Plenty more. So, I mean, I don't know. I kind of think we could do this till the day we die. So,
wow.
I mean, we'll be 130 years old, because that's how old people will be by the time, they'll be the normal life expectancy by the time we die. And we'll still be doing it. We'll be like falling asleep in the middle of the episode. No, but one episode at a time. But
there's no shortage of material.
Exactly.
So we're not planning to go anywhere, and hopefully you guys are not either.
Yeah, and thanks everybody who's who's stuck with us this far, and everybody who joins up every new episode. It's so great to know there's so many people out there listening.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And again, say hey, drop in and say hey when you get a chance.
Yeah, please
tell us if there's something you'd really like to see that we maybe haven't thought of. Interview you'd really like to see, just anything like that, and we'll try and make it happen.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
for sure.
Well, we don't want to say for sure until it actually happens. But
I said for sure. We'll totally try to make it happen.
Try, okay, yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
We'll right. for sure try.
Yeah,
you can say that.
You told me it would happen.
For sure.
You told me you'd resurrect Tolkien and interview him.
That would be creepy.
Yeah.
Very creepy.
All right.
I bet there's plenty of Tolkien impersonators out there, though. Don't you think?
I've never heard of one.
There's Elvis impersonators. And there's that guy, the G.K. Chesterton impersonator.
Well, there's probably people who can impersonate him, but... Anyway.
Yeah. Maybe we should research that. See what we can find.
I'm not a big fan of the whole impersonation thing.
Okay, fine. I thought it would be fun. If you guys think that would be fun, let us know.
Or not.
No, please do.
All right. I think we needed to have you do a Tolkien impersonation.
I don't know enough about Tolkien.
I think that would be even 10 times as awesome as like an actual Tolkien impersonator as you trying to do.
Well, you make fun of my British accent all the time, so I think it would be a disaster.
That's because it's funny.
Yeah.
All right.
Maybe I'll work on that. I'll see what I can come up with.
All right.
Very
well. All right. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Yeah. Thank y'all.
We will talk at you next time.
Yep.
Take care.
Next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye, y'all.
Please remember to check out truemyths.org for show notes and plenty of other Tolkien goodness. Also, if you're enjoying the podcast, would you please leave the Tolkien Road a rating and feedback on iTunes? It's a great way to support the show and takes less than a minute. We'll be taking a week off, so our next episode should be out on April 23rd. I'm excited to say we'll be resuming our discussion of The Lord of the Rings with Book 2, Chapter 1, Many Meetings. And by the way, we're planning to throw a bonus episode in soon as well. Thanks again for listening, and until next time, the road goes ever on.